The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, thank you for joining us for our live webinar on smart money strategies for Singapore stocks. This is Eric Lee. I am the sales director with Philip Nova. If you have any technical issues with your app, like you can't see clearly or can't hear properly, please type in help in the question box and my colleague will assist you. Also during the webinar, if you have any questions, do type them into the question box and I will address them during the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. Please find included a disclaimer for tonight's session. Please note that the information provided today is for education only. A quick introduction to myself before we begin. As mentioned, I'm a sales director from Philip Nova. I joined Philip in 2004 and have more than 20 years of experience investing in the financial market. Apart from servicing and advising my clients on investment-related matters, I also spend a lot of my time researching the markets, covering all angles such as financial analysis, chart analysis, market cycle, intermarket analysis, and as well the topic of today on smart money analysis. All in a bid to improve our edge in investing and also sharing these ideas with my clients. The products I service my clients with includes stocks, futures, forex, as well as advisory services. This is the presentation scope which to cover today. I will present a brief introduction on what smart money is about, its driving forces, how to use smart money charts, and also using it to identify potential stocks and sectors to invest in. And lastly, I will share with you about my weekly smart money reports and how you can get hold of them. You can post your questions on the question box and I will answer them during the Q&A sessions at the end. So to begin with, let's look at some basic introduction about smart money. So who are the smart money? The smart money are basically referring to people who do investing or trading as a living. So this could be the professional traders, the fund managers, or some full-time investors who invest their own wealth or family wealth. So when you're going to hear throughout the webinar, I'm talking about smart money as if they are one group or they are referring to him or her as a person. But really, smart money, we do not know exactly who they are, how many of them. And they do not actually work in unison, as in they come together and decide to buy and sell, but rather through their own analysis, through their own context, through their own ideas, most of them would have come to the similar conclusion, or at least enough of them come to the similar conclusion, and their conclusion to buy or sell a certain stock will then cause the share price to move in a certain direction. Of course, not all smart money are smart. Some of them are pretty dumb in a sense that they will make mistakes similar to us or invest in the wrong products similar to us. But enough of them, when enough of them did the right thing, right, they will be able to move the market in a certain direction, partly also because they have the clout, the funds with them, the money is with them, right, and the investment idea to move the market in the right direction as well. And in this current globalized world, we are not really looking at investment in a localized sense. Even though as we invest in Singapore stocks or we invest in US stocks, it's pretty localized in that sense that we invest in the company of a certain country. But many of these companies that we invest in, their operations are pretty international as well. So thus, when it comes to the smart money, when it comes to the professional investors, right, many of times they will be moving their funds around across various countries, across various geographical location, and also across various products. So all in a bid of trying to beat the market, of trying to improve their investment returns. So you will find that this smart money will tend to move their funds to the location or to the products or ideas that they think will generate for them the highest return. And what are the driving forces behind all these smart money movement. There are various driving forces from macro to micro. So let's start off with the macro forces first. Firstly, it could be because of economic forces. Economic forces that is as a result of fiscal and monetary policies by the government. You know, when the government decide to build infrastructures, when the government decide to spend their investment in a certain area or in a certain sectors, their decisions to implement those policies would have a seismic shift, right, in the way the funds are being deployed, in the way the investment is being done. So this will then open up opportunities for investment into certain stocks that is related to the sectors or the sectors and industries that the government are investing into. Or sometimes it could be just a general monetary policy, like what the Fed is doing to fight inflation by increasing interest rate, right? Even though the objective is to stave off inflation, the increase of interest rate will have a significant impact onto into companies or sectors, especially those companies who are very sensitive, or sectors that are very sensitive to interest rate, like the financial sectors or the REIT sectors. Other type of forces that may cause the shifting of funds could be geopolitical forces. And lately, for the past 2 to 3 years, this is something that all of us probably hear of it almost every day through the news, through different media. So first we have the Ukraine-Russia war. Then we often hear about the US-China conflicts, as well as the Taiwan-China conflicts. And most recently, of course, since last year, there's the Israel-Gaza war going on. You know, and all these geopolitical situations will then cause investors to look or to move their investment to a certain area that may benefit their returns, or to avoid the risk, exposure to the risk of all these geopolitical situations. Technological trends. This is also something that all of us are very much aware of recently. You know, from a few years ago, we hear about the EV electric vehicles, so which led to Tesla's stratospheric movement in the share price. And then we have the crypto push, which benefit companies like NVIDIA, as well as recently the AI, the artificial intelligence movement, right, which also benefit companies like Supermicro Computer and NVIDIA as well. And all these technological trends will therefore create opportunities for the smart money to invest into companies that will benefit from this kind of a trends. Whatever trends is coming on next, right, we probably do not know by now at this point in time. But day by day, week by week, you know, as we come across many of all these technological trends or breakthrough through the news media, then you will realize that there are certain stocks that may be open up for investment opportunities, right? And these are the ideas that may comes out, you know, and create and cause the smart money to move in a certain area or to invest in their funds in a certain way, and therefore open up opportunities for investors like us as well. And lastly, valuations, right? Just now, those few points that I mentioned are pretty much macro. It could be macro due to, like what I want to mention, the government's policies or the conflicts between governments. But sometimes individual business model or business valuation may also cause the smart money to divert their funds in a certain way, right? From a company that is having high growth potential, or they could be just investing in a company because of its strong valuations. So now I'm just going to talk about what the smart money trends are and showing you with some examples. Firstly, to understand what smart money is, we have to take a look into understanding the schools of thoughts when it comes to investment analysis. There's generally these two schools of thoughts, which is technical analysis and fundamental analysis. And both these schools of thoughts can be summarized into this quote by Benjamin Graham. Benjamin Graham famously said, in the short run, the market is a voting machine, but in the long run, it is a weighing machine. Of course, when he's giving this quote out, his primarily objective is to steer the investors to look into investing in a long-term way, which is to weigh a business, to value a business. But many a times, we can see that the share price will also move up and down, not really because of the valuation of a business, but more so because of the supply and demand of the particular stock or particular company. This is where technical analysis will comes along. The part that he mentioned about the voting machine. Okay, this is a very famous supply and demand chart that many of us who study economics 101, this is probably the first chart that we will come across, right? So when there's a certain supply for certain goods or services, and when there's a demand for a certain goods and services, right? The market will often come to an equilibrium price such that both this supply and demand will meet. And many a times when it comes to the share price of a chart, this is what is happening as well. There's a certain demand in the market for a stock, perhaps due to the story or due to the investment idea, or as what I mentioned about the geopolitical situations that is going on, the technological trend that is going on. Like recently, we all read that the share price of NVIDIA has been running up very high, running up a lot. And that's really because there's a strong demand for it. The strong demand for AI stock, because people believe that AI is the future, right? So because of the strong demand for it and because of the limited stocks out there for the particular company, right? Then the market will tend to drive up the prices due to the higher demand in it. And the next form of investment analysis is fundamental analysis. So this is what Graham mentioned about the weighing machine. So when it comes to fundamental analysis, what we are doing is trying to value the business, to value the company, to value the stocks. There are various ways of doing so. Through discounted cash flow analysis, by basically studying the cash flow. You know, whenever every year the company will need to report their earnings, and these earnings result can be reported in three major groups, which is the cash flow statement, the income statement, as well as the balance sheet, right? And how we analyze these three statements or pieces of information will then determine how an investor would value the business. So for a company that is very asset heavy, typically investors will tend to study the balance sheet to make sure that the balance sheet is strong. But for some companies who generate lots of cash flow, they may not have a lot of assets, but their business is such that they will generate lots of cash flow. Then investors will tend to analyze the cash flow statements, so on and so forth, right? So where does the smart money then falls along? The smart money analysis basically is a little bit of both, I would think. Of course, the way we analyze smart money chart is very much closer to how we do it using technical analysis for the price chart itself. But within the smart money chart, I believe it encompasses both technical analysis and fundamental analysis. Because when the smart money decide to buy a certain stock, or when the smart money decide to sell a certain stock, they would have done their homework based on fundamental analysis and based on technical analysis. and then they decide that this stock is worth buying or this stock is worth selling. Right? Enough of them do that action more, or rather, if there are more buyer than seller among the smart money, then the share price would appreciate. So by us analyzing, or by us studying what the smart money is doing, right, we can very much understand the direction in the stock, or the stock price will go towards, right? Partly this is supported by real money involved in the stock, and secondly, this money that is not being thrown into the investment blindly. They are being supported by researchers done by the smart money themselves as well. Okay, what you see here is the chart of Sembcorp Industries. And all the smart money chart you're going to see is a very standard chart that you will see with two lines, a blue color line and a gray color line. Okay, the gray color line is the price of the stock that this chart is studying. For example, this chart here is showing the chart of Sembcorp Industries. So the gray line is the weekly price of Sembcorp Industries, and the blue line is the funds being added on to this stock by the smart money, or funds being withdrawn from this stock by the smart money. So as week after week, as the smart money keep on adding more and more funds into the stock, you will see that the blue line will appreciate, will goes up. So as the smart money decide to sell the stock, then you will see that the blue line will come down. Okay, I hope you all can see the laser pointer that I've just added on. So between July 2021 to September 2021, about a period of 2 months, the smart money are selling. So as the smart money sell, the share price comes down. Then after September, as the smart money buys, the share price goes up. So you can see that since August 2020, smart money has consistently been buying Sembcorp Industries, right? And as they buy up Sembcorp Industries, the share price generally goes up as well. Of course, there are periods of time you'll find that there's some divergence, whereby smart money is buying or not selling that much, but the share price comes down, like during this period from August to October 2022, right? In fact, these are the opportunities that one of the way that we can use the smart money report to sieve out ideas, meaning that the share price comes down, but smart money are continuing going up. So this actually signal to us that the smart money are continuing buying these stocks, or that they still view that there is a potential for the stock to go up. That is why they did not sell out, right? So eventually, when the correction is over, you'll find that this divergence will start closing back up again, and the share price will tend to move back towards the direction that the smart money is investing in, right? So from August 2020 until recently, January 2024, smart money has bought about 600 million worth of Sembcorp Industries, right? So if an investor were to follow the smart money back in August 2020 and buy and hold until now, he would have gained a return of 600% over 3.5 years, right? So if I show you this chart without showing you the name, right, you'll probably think that this is a US stock, right? Seldom you will see a Singapore stock going up so much within such a short period of time. But we now know, of course, that this is Sembcorp Industry, not a tech firm, not a company that's in the forefront of technology, but it's just a company that is doing utilities, right? Electric power generation, right? So of course, looking back, now we can try to understand why the Sembcorp Industry moved so much. Firstly, what happened in August 2020? If you were to just read up the news, you know that in somewhere in mid 2020, right, Temasek did a deal to help Sembcorp Industry divest its investment in Sembcorp Marine, right? Sembcorp Marine, of course, eventually changed its name to Seatrium now. So, and Sembcorp Industry had always been a very stable company generating very stable business and cash flow. But because it is a major holders of Sembcorp Marine, which has suffered greatly due to its business being in the oil and gas, and at that time the oil price wasn't doing so well. Oil price had been a 30 word. It used to be a sector that is well liked, but since 2010, right, the sector hasn't been doing so well. Oil price hasn't been doing so well, right? The world are looking more and more towards green energy. But beyond just its divestment in Sembcorp Marine, one of the other key reasons that Sembcorp Industry did so well is really because of Singapore government's drive towards green energy, right? We all know that soon, I think by 2030, probably all the cars in Singapore will have, or new cars that we buy will have to be an EV car. And the government is also increasingly looking into getting greener source of energy, right? And not relying on the fossil fuel for energy. So this could be the reason that why there's a strong demand for Sembcorp Industry. And interestingly, by looking at fundamental analysis, if you look back into the books of Sembcorp Industry back in 2020 or even 2021, you're not going to find that the books looks very, very good, because at that point in time, the balance sheets, the income statement will still very much include its ownership of Sembcorp Marine. Right, even after then, right, the profits that Sembcorp Industry is bringing in doesn't really warrant a 600%, I mean, return over 3.5 years, right? So that the investment into this is really because of the future development, technological trends, as well as government policy. So now, after going through what the Sembcorp Marine, we're just going to go through a few more sectors and stocks to show to you how we can potentially use these smart money charts to actually look out for opportunities or to choose which stocks in the sector to invest in. Okay, smart money chart can also be used for sector analysis. Right, for example, this one here is a smart money chart on the utilities sector, right? So as the utilities index goes up, you can see that the smart money index in blue goes up as well, right? But of course, in Singapore, there aren't many big utilities company. So the driving force behind this utility sector index going up is really because of Sembcorp Industry. It has a very large weightage on this index itself. Okay, how about this on the REIT sector? Right, a lot of investors like to invest in REITs, but since 2021, REITs hasn't been doing so well as a sector. The gray line is the REITs index, right? Sector index. It has been coming down, and you can see why it's been coming down, because the smart money has been selling, right? Since April 2021 until recently, smart money has sold about 2.8 billion worth of these REITs stocks. Yeah, and that's the reason why REITs struggling to do well, because the smart money are selling. Okay, so this is typically how we can use certain investment ideas. and to couple it together with Smart Money chart to decide what to invest or when to invest. Like for example, on market trends. This piece of news talk about Magnificent Seven, which is the US blue chips tech firms like Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla, and so on. Right, it's up for another bull run. So, like the title of the article says, what to expect from tech stocks in 2024. So since last year, October, right, Nasdaq has been up about 26% until January of this year. So let's say if I'm an investor in Singapore, right? Of course, I can always invest directly into the US market. But say if I want to look for some Singapore tech stock to invest in, after I see that or I think that the US tech sector will do well, is going to do well, driven by the AI stocks or driven by the technological trend, then how do I then decide which of the stocks in Singapore to select to invest in? Okay, this first chart is the smart money chart of Venture Corp. Okay, in the inside of the chart, you will see a WhatsApp message that I sent to my client. This is also part of my service to my clients to alert them onto certain investment ideas. So the WhatsApp is sent to my client on 6th of November when the venture is trading at around $12.50, right? So since early 2023, all the way for about 9 months, right? The share price of venture hasn't been doing so well. Smart Money has been selling venture for almost 9 months until about November, right? When the trend changed and Smart Money start buying to venture. And that's why you see that similarly, the venture price starts to go up. Right, as I mentioned, the way to use the Smart Money chart is very much similar to how we use the price chart of a stock by using technical analysis. You can do so by drawing a trend line or looking for key support and resistance level. Now in this case, the key resistance level is a point here and a point here. So as venture breaks above the first key resistance level, right, there's a part that it alerts me that there's possible opportunities for this stock, right? Of course, a lot of time we want to be more confirmed, then we can wait for the second key resistance point to be broken through. Or you can also rely on your other tools, such as technical analysis, on the venture price chart itself, or also rely on the fundamental analysis on the company, right? So, but as I mentioned, I previously had really studied about the US tech sector, and I think that there's a strong chance or momentum for the US tech sector to go up. So based on that, the investment idea, I then come here to select the stocks traded in the listed in the Singapore Stock Exchange to look out for investment idea and also to look out for a trading opportunity. So thus, when I see this signal here by the Smart Money on venture, right, I then alerted my client as well as bought some stock for myself, right? So when then do you decide to sell, right? So week by week, as we study the Smart Money chart, as long as the Smart Money stays committed or keep on buying, keep on accumulating the stock, then I will keep on holding on. Then you can decide to keep on holding on to the stock that you have invested in. Or you may also decide after the stock has moved to a certain level, you may also decide to fall back to your technical analysis to look for key support level on the chart itself to sort of to ride the trend up. So as long as the support levels are not broken through and the price keep going higher, then you can then decide to hold on and ride the wave. So as of now, after 3 months, smart money is still buying. So at least in that sense, there should be a strong likelihood that the price of venture corp will continue upwards. Okay, another stock that we see this smart money phenomena is this small cap or mid cap stock called Franken Group, right? So Franken Group is a company that handles it deals into analytical and life science, automotive, healthcare, industrial, and also in semicon industries. So they are more like the contractors for the big tech firms, in supplying them with certain of the parts and machinery and services as well. So when the tech sector does well, you'll find that the Franken Group will tends to benefit from it. It also tends to follow on with the general market trend, right? But also by looking at the smart money chart, the blue line here, we can see that since on the 14th of August, right, the blue line broke above the key resistance level. So at that time, Franken Group was trading at 98 cents or close to about $1. And then since then until now, the smart money had consistently been buying. Of course, there are a period of time that they may have a little bit of sell down, profit taking, or it could be one group exiting and another group came back in. We really do not know. But what we do know is that as a group, as a whole, right, the smart money have been buying Franken Group, right? And this part here that I box up, right? These are the very interesting formation here, because from September to November last year, smart money had been consistently buying up Franken Group, but the share price had been moving sideways, right? So these, in fact, are the best opportunities that I think that we can make use of as investors, right? Because as long as the share price did not break any major support level, no major bad news, or like the fundamental not looking too bad, right? As long as that is the case and you see that the smart money is buying, then at every dip is an opportunity for us to accumulate together with them. Because eventually, right, as I mentioned just now, the divergence will undiverge again. So over here, you see the huge divergence between the smart money and the price chart. Smart money keep going higher, the price chart stay low. But eventually, they will have to undiverge. And usually when that happens, is most of the very high likelihood is for the share price to follow on with what the smart money is doing, and then catch on with the share price. And it's not that the share price is moving on by itself, but really they're moving up because of the investment, the money that the smart money has poured into. Remember I mentioned about the supply and demand chart right at the very beginning. When there's more and more demand for a stock, right? And then sooner or later you'll come to a point whereby the supply can't catch up with the demand, and the price will have to go up in order for equivalent of this between the supply and demand to be formed, right? So this is exactly what is happening right here. The price catching up because of the strong demand in the stock by the smart money, right? So from about $1 to current 150, that's about a 50% move within 6 months. Okay, so how about government policies? this is okay. When you Google Singapore Green Plan, you will come to the website whereby they have articles um, um, just sharing what the Singapore government's plan was in support to the Paris Agreement, what we're going to do in order to steer our economy, steer our country to a more greener source of energy. And also, Singapore has this commitment to achieve a net zero emission by 2050, right? So all this is not going to happen without any investment, right? Definitely, the government or the private sectors will have to pour in funds, pour in money to build up the infrastructures, right? It may be by force, right? Because of the government policy, you have no choice, right? Even if they do not want to do it, they will have to do it because that's the government's policy, or they may be fined, or they may not have their business license revoked if they do not follow or achieve certain standards, right? So this policy will then drive up price, drive up the investment in certain sectors, which then cause the stocks price to benefit as well. So of course, here again, we see the chart of Sembcorp Industry. So we have gone through this before, so we are not going through again, but I'm just highlighting here again how various government policy or news that you come across you may actually give ourselves some ideas into what sectors or what stock to invest in. Then we can then follow on by checking out the smart money charts to see whether are the real money involved, right, into in these particular sectors or in those particular stocks that we are talking about. Geopolitical news as well. So like, of course, again, we're going to touch on a little bit about this Middle East conflict between the Israel and Gaza. So, and the impact, of course, that these conflicts have is, or rather one of the concern that the market has about this conflict is impact that you have on the energy prices, energy market, the oil and gas prices, right? So, so assuming that as an investor, we read the news and we think that perhaps some oil or energy related stocks in Singapore may offer opportunities for us to invest in due to these geopolitical conflicts going on in the European or in the Middle East area, right? So then quickly we can then check through some of the energy or oil and gas related stocks listed in Singapore. Sad to say, we do not have any big blue chip company that is in the energy sector, but many small and medium-sized ones. So, like for example, one of these here is Dyna-Mac. Dyna-Mac, the ticker is NO4. So Dyna-Mac is in the oil and gas sector. It provides engineering, fabrication, and construction services. So what we see that smart money had been selling since July last year until now. So no opportunities, right? But of course, in the early part of the year, they are buying. So any opportunities will be then, right? But after July, they've been selling up to now. So no opportunity to invest in Dyna-Mac as of now. How about the next stock, REX International, ticker 5WH. REX International is into oil exploration and is an oil exploration and production company. So they are mainly operating in Norway. So similarly, the smart money have been selling since July last year, and up to, of course, there are period of time that it went up a bit, but all in all, in general, they have been selling. So yeah, so no opportunities for on this Rex International as well. The next stock, RH Petrogas, ticker T13. So the company engaged in the exploration and production of oil and gas in Indonesia. So similarly, from July to now, smart money been selling. So far, no opportunity for this stock as well. So lastly, the last energy related stock is this stock called Geo Energy. Ticker is RE4. Geo Energy operates coal mining and trading in Indonesia, China, and India, mostly Indonesia and China, right? But interestingly, right, different from the rest, smart money have been buying, right, this Geo Energy since November last year, right, until now. So so yeah, there's some opportunities here that we see since November. So in fact, right, on my smart money report for my client, the full version that I sent for the week 3 Jan 2024 report. Okay, so just take note that of this full version here. Later I'll explain more what full version is all about, because I do have another version which is the STI version, right? So but back to this report. So back on this this report for the week 3 of Jan. So so meaning that towards the end of Jan, when I send out this report, I do alert my client that I do see an opportunity here, right? We miss out the initial run in November, right? Because at that point the smart money was still selling, and then it just first changed to buy, right? But there's a second opportunity that comes to us in somewhere in January, right? Whereby smart money have been buying, but the share price been staying pretty much sideways, right? So this then offer us opportunity to invest into this stock. Okay, so of course you can check the share price now. The price of this Geo Energy had then since moved from about 33, 34 cents to a recent high of 43, 44 cents. Of course, it has since pulled back a little bit, back towards 40 cents or slightly lower. But the smart money looks to be still buying. So hopefully after a correction, and in fact every correction in the period that smart money is buying is an opportunity for investors like you and I to join in to accumulate some of the stock, right? Right. So another opportunity here when it comes to political landscape, again in regard to the conflicts in Middle East, right? This one is still in play. Just now I mentioned the one for Geo Energy. It has moved up a little bit. Of course, I do think that there's still potential for higher move for Geo Energy, but these other sectors here, I think that the move hasn't happened yet. So it's also a sector or stocks that I alerted my clients to take a look at or put them in their watch list. So you too, as sitting and listening to me here, you can also put up these few stocks into your watch list and then just check out their price movement over the next few weeks to see if there's any opportunity for you to invest in them as well. So what about this next opportunity regarding, again, the Middle East conflicts? So so this Houthi group has been firing missiles and sending drones attacks on various ships that is sailing through that region. So so a lot of shipping company actually rerouting to avoid this conflict. and so meaning that they are actually traveling a longer route. So then this then will cause the cost of shipping to increase. In fact, if you were to just Google about the freight rate, right, freight rate for January hit an all-time high. So really because of what is going on in the Middle East region. So if you think that this conflict is going to be there for a while, and many of these ships will continue have to travel and spend, shipping companies really have to travel further, and companies sending goods across the globe will then have to spend more on the shipment or transportation. Then perhaps some shipping companies may benefit from this. So in Singapore, there aren't many shipping stocks, right? But there are some that can benefit from this directly or indirectly. So I actually listed this down on my weekly smart money report for week 2 February. So this was just like 2 weeks before that I sent to my clients. This is also the full version. So on this version, I sent to my clients, I informed that this is happening. They can check out these few stocks here. So these 3 stocks I list down is Yangzijiang, Marco Polo Marine, and Samudera, right? So okay, Yangzijiang, of course, we know that it's into shipbuilding, as it's a more Chinese, it's a Chinese firm. So personally, I'm not too comfortable investing in Chinese company at the moment. So personally, I really would avoiding this. And secondly, on the smart money chart as well, there isn't a clear definite signs of the direction that the smart money has on this stock. So I'm not really looking at it at the moment, but we're just going to pay some attention into what Marco Polo Marine and also Samudera is doing. Okay, so this is a smart money chart for this Marco Polo Marine. The ticker is 5LY. Okay, so we can see that after initial spike from July, last year July, until maybe about just recently, like early Feb, right? The smart money had been selling this stock, Marco Polo, right? And then suddenly it started to turn in the first 2 weeks of February. We see that smart money has been buying, and it looks to me that increasingly so for the past 3 weeks. So at least so far, things looks good, right? As I mentioned, how we use smart money is by trend lines. So the green line is a trend line drawn on the resistance points of the smart money, the blue color smart money chart. And then if you drew it similarly on the price high point of the Marco Polo, you will also find similar trend line, and both are quite pretty parallel to each other, which is nothing of any significance, right? It doesn't affect any of our trading decision. But this is one way. So the breaking above the trend line can be a signal to follow on with the trend of the smart money, right? Of course, but beyond just breaking above the trend line, you also see that the smart money are breaking above these 2 previous resistance points. So it's a good indication that there's a strong momentum. So perhaps opportunity here for this Marco Polo to go up. The share price has since just went up slightly. It's a very low price stock, so usually for such stocks, sometimes it may be hard for them to move, but usually sometimes when they do move, it could be pretty significant percentage-wise. So in that sense, it will tend to be quite volatile, right? If you were to invest in stocks like this, right? So do pay attention to this, and and Marco Polo also to take note that it is not directly involved in the shipping. In fact, Marco Polo business is and it operates ship chartering services, ship repair, some shipbuilding, right? Mostly operating in the Southeast Asia and Taiwan. So perhaps its move has got nothing to do with what's happening in the Middle East, right? Or perhaps it could be just sentiment, emotionally wise, right? Because a lot of times, sometimes the market is quite irrational. In fact, oftentimes it is quite irrational. It may not be related, but if its name sound like it is related, then sometimes investor may just buy into them based on that fact, right? But we do have one stock that is pretty much directly related to shipping, and that is Samudera Shipping. Ticker is S56, right? So this will be the most directly involved in all the stocks listed in Singapore, right? It engages in the transportation of containerized and non-containerized cargo, but operate mostly in the Southeast Asia region and in a small part in the Middle East as well. So what I like about this stock is that it has a strong balance sheet and cash flow. You can go and check it out. Last year, it paid out a very good dividend, about 9% yield, right? Its cash is more than its debt. And because of the very good run in the freight rate, the company has been, the business is good, has been generating lots of cash flow. So this is not a speculative stocks in that sense. But of course, its fate is very much being driven by these freight rate prices, which is good right now since it is quoting at the all-time high. So perhaps Samudera Shipping may benefit. But let's look at the smart money chart. Okay, the smart money chart, actually right now there's nothing going on yet, right? The smart money has been selling, right? Though the magnitude has somewhat lessened in comparing with the initial part that we see in early 2023, the first quarter, the sell down was by the smart money is pretty heavy. But after that, it is a gentle downtrend, right? They do continue to sell. There's no buy signal from them yet. But the first thing I will look out for is for the smart money to break above the green trend line that I've drawn here. So which hasn't happened as of last week. So we can continue to monitor this stock and put it in your watch list. And perhaps when that day happen that the smart money trend change to buy, then we may also flow on to look into this investing in this stock as well. Okay, so I've come to almost a close of today's session. So let me just quickly go through with you about my account opening promotion, right? Because I've been mentioning about this smart money, the weekly smart money report. But what is this all about? So this is a report that I email to my clients, and all my clients will get this free report for 1 full year this year. So I'm also offering this to all the new clients who open an account with me. So if you open an account with me, so for the next 12 months, you will receive this free subscription to this smart money report, and for the next 12 months. So then you can then determine, right? So giving you 12 months to study this report, to check out my service. So during these 12 months, of course, if you decide that this is no good, you're not going to, you don't think that this is helpful to you, if you don't do any trade, you don't even have to fund in any funds to your account, you will still continue to receive this for the next 12 months. But if you, of course, if you think that this is helpful for you, then I, of course, sincerely hope that you can make use of this report to better your investment into the Singapore stocks, right? So if you are interested to open an account, you can scan this QR code. Then it will lead you to the account opening page. So once account is open, you don't. There's no requirement for funding. There's no requirement for trading. But the next 12 months, you will receive this report. But remember I mentioned about the full report, the full version, and then there's a STI version. So for all my clients, they'll be receiving the STI version. STI version covers the 30 STI stocks, and also will be covering on the 8 or 9 sectors in Singapore. So the Smart Money will plot to you what these sectors are doing, and also on the 30 STI stocks. And I've just included in this week's issue the Smart Money chart on the Straits Times Index itself, and also the Smart Money chart on the KLCI, the Kuala Lumpur Composite Index. So the Malaysian market is also a market that I've increasingly paying attention to, researching in, and then I've just found that I'm able to generate this Smart Money chart based on the data that I have on this KLCI index as well. So hopefully these two additions will also help my clients in steering the investment in these two markets, Singapore and Malaysia. Right. So back to these two versions, for the STI version, so for the first 12 months after account opening, you will be receiving it free of charge. But after the first 12 months, if you want to continue to receive this, then you would need to incur at least $500 commission fees during the 12 months. So meaning that from the account opening until the 12 months, this period, if you incur this $500 in commission through the products that you traded with accounts under my service, then you will continue to receive this report for the next 12 months. So thereby, every 12 months, this is the criteria that I just require for all my clients, right? Because if you actually do not trade, also probably mean that you don't find this useful, lah. So yeah, so I'll only be sending this to clients who are supporting, and to our clients who are finding this useful. But what about the full version? What is different between the full version and the STI version? Okay, the full version basically, apart from all the 30 STI stocks, the STI, the KLSCI index, and the 9 sectors, will be including all the other small and mid cap. Of course, not all the stocks I cover, not all the stocks I have the data for. So, but probably about between 50 to 70 Singapore small and mid cap stocks that I've been following. So any of these stocks that has a signal of the Smart Money buying, that I'll be including into the report. So some of those I mentioned, I showed you just now, like Franken, like these are Geo Energy, and also like the Marco Polo. These are available on the full version. So the full version is only available for clients who open a securities advisory rep account or a managed account with me. So with at least 50,000 AUM in these accounts. So then they will automatically receive this weekly full version free of charge. So if you are keen to find out more about what this rep account is, what this managed account is all about, so you can just contact me by sending me a message or writing an email. I will show my contacts at a later part. Okay, so some of my other services to also help my clients with to better use the this weekly Smart Money report. I'm also will be conducting a monthly webinar. So this will be held on every last Thursday of every month from 7:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. So I'll be holding it on Zoom. So the next upcoming webinar is on the 29th, which is this Thursday, 2 days later. So if you are keen to join on this Zoom, all you need to do is just to fill out the account opening form to open the Nova trading account, and then just let me know, and I'll register you for this webinar. And also, when you were to open the account right now, you also straight away receive the week 3, February week 3 report, the latest report on the Smart Money. So other than the Smart Money report and the money webinar, I also have some WhatsApp services that is available for my clients who are interested on to subscribe to. So then once they subscribe to them, if there's any messages, any updates regarding the market concerning these 6 services, I will then be sending to you via WhatsApp.